So today it's a long-awaited video. It's my Remington 788 in 6mm Remington. This has been featured in a couple of the other videos where I did the rifle forensics and took it apart and showed the insides. We're set up here at about 130 yards or so at Mark Johnson's house, and we just did a quick bore sighting on the target downrange so we can put the bolt back in and think about the first shots that I've fired through this rifle. And we're going to use some hand loads that I put together here. I've got two different variations. I've got a 100 grain bullet and I've got an 85 grain bullet. And they're both Speer, and they're like a soft point boat tail. Both of them are the same family of bullet, just a different weight, 6mm Remington. And we're using IMR 4831 today. The heavier bullet is 43 grains and the lighter bullet is 45 grains. So what do we shoot first, Mark? The light ones or the heavy ones?
Shoot the light ones.
We'll shoot the 85 grains first. So on my load card here, 85 grain, it's Winchester Western WW Super Brass. It's brand new brass. I bought a bag of it when I stumbled across it, so it's brand new. I did my normal prep. I did the primer pockets and all that. I didn't sort it, didn't neck ream it or anything like that, so it's just basic prep on the primer pocket and whatnot. And I used a let's see, I used a Forster neck die on it to straighten up the necks, and I used a Forster seating die. It's the Micrometer style, and my overall length on both is, I believe, 2.21. And I've got a note here that on my seating, I zeroed out my seating die on the 100 grain bullet, and then I had to change this adjustment on the seating stem 0.110 inches to seat the 85 grain bullet. But I believe they are both, no, wait a minute, I'm lying. The cases were trimmed for 2.21. 2.21 is the trim length.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's more than 2.21. I need to do better load cards, Mark.
And the profile is different, so your seating depth is different.
Yeah. So on our overall length, the 85 is 2.775, and the 100 is 2.875. So
what's your estimated velocity without the chrono?
I didn't write it down. I didn't write it down.
2800?
Yeah, something like that. But I can tell you which lead dipper I used to get close. I did write down that for the 85 grain I used an old red or black number 205 dipper, and for the 100 grain I used the 3.1 cc dipper. So I've got that on my notes.
Those are pretty handy.
Yeah. And I think, Mark, you're probably the person that said you need to get the red and the black ones that are graduated in cubic inches because they fall between the yellow cubic centimeter ones, and you have a little bit more to choose from. I do have a spreadsheet. It's on my Google Drive where I compiled a list of all the combinations and put them in order. And yep. And not only for the dippers, but for the discs, for like the auto disc powder measure and whatnot, and the double discs, all the combinations and what they get in volume converted to both cubic inches and cc's in order. So you can go right down the list.
That's a deal.
Yeah, so I'll have to get you that, and it is on my Google Drive. I can maybe put a link to that.
Yeah, I was
everybody
looking for something that was 6 grains of BE86, and I couldn't come up with them.
Couldn't come up with a dipper?
It's like 0.56 or something.
So we do have the bullseye target camera set up again, and we should be able to get some footage from that. Say we did got the caps off the scope still. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it's on the paper. Do you got your spotting scope just in case, Mark?
Nope, but you got the camera.
We might have to zoom in a little bit if I don't do a good job here. So, all right. Well, we'll start out with the 85 grain Speers, 45 grains of IMR 4831 Remington 9.5 primer, and we went high end on the dies. They're Forsters. Ooh.
See if that makes a difference.
And the first time I've shot this rifle, so I think everything will be good.
I have no doubts.
And we'll see where the first one goes and decide if we need a scope adjustment. So let's got to get it in the chamber, Mark. You got to put the magazine. I didn't bring the magazine.
Oh, no.
It'll shoot without the magazine.
Yeah.
It'll just be a little challenging. So here we are, off to another train wreck.
All right, here we go.
Another train wreck. I didn't bring the magazine for the rifle.
Like
it's sitting on the bench, so it ejects well.
I bet. Bottom ejection. Right.
We'll just use our fingers to get them in the chamber, and close on it.
Probably patent.
This has that, this is like a 700. It has that like sheet metal extractor that's around the inside of the bolt face, so it'll snap over just like it does. It's a push feed rifle. Okay, so we're filming. We got our target camera. We'll hit record on the target camera. That's clicking away, so we should have footage downrange as long as batteries stay up. 7mm Remington, excuse me, 6mm Remington is very similar to 243. A little bit more powder volume. 7x57 case is the parent, so let's give it a try. I've not run this rifle before, and I've not shot 6mm Remington before, so this is a new thing all the way around.
Without a magazine.
Without a mag, yeah. I guess we don't have to worry about mag restrictions if you don't have one. It's a single shot today. Alright, well I'm going to shoot at the black spot and see if we can see where it prints. I do have a, it's a Loophole Varix 3, was it 3.5 to 12? I don't remember. I'll have to look at it afterwards, but we'll see what we get here. Okay.
A little bit of smoke on that.
Well, there's probably some oil in the barrel, stuff like that. Don't see the shot. Oh yeah, I do see the shot. I think it's just to the left of the edge of the target, the piece of paper. So all of that correction that I dialed in, I need to take about a half of it back out, I think, because we were pretty careful about, I'm pretty sure that's, or is it, no, wait a minute, I think that was an existing hole. I think our shot is at the bottom edge of the paper. The windage looks to be right on the money, and we're right at the edge of that white target, so we need to come up about 6 inches, but I'm going to shoot another just to make sure that that's what I've got there. Let's look at the brass.
Gotcha.
That's it falls right out the bottom.
Yeah, it's a bottom ejection.
That's nice.
It's like a Ithaca 37.
Yeah. I'd say that looks pretty nice, Mark.
Yep.
Nice and clean.
It's clean, definitely clean.
Yep. And for those people that have watched all of my 788 videos, this is the rifle from the Rifle Forensics video where I took it apart and took out the can jar trigger to put in my 222. I sourced a factory Remington 788 trigger. It's a stock trigger that I put back in this rifle. I've got another stock for it. I've got other pieces and parts. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the rifle. I'll probably better scope bases and rings. These are cheap loopholed, what do they call them, rifleman rings, and inexpensive bases. They're inexpensive weaver bases. So we'll see. I wanted to run the rifle and see how it shoots before I did too much more work on it. But that 85 grainer felt pretty good. I was a little bit jumpy on the shot. The trigger is a little different than I thought it would be, but we'll try again and see what we get. Had a pretty good report, didn't it?
Yeah, good thump. Well, more than I was expecting.
Okay, I'll lock down on it a little harder this time. It's a little stiff on the pull. Whoops. That time I ran it out. So we'll get that one in a minute. I'm sure it looks fine. And that shot is down in the vicinity of the other one. It's maybe an inch higher and an inch and a quarter to the left. So that is where it's printing. So
okay.
We're on the paper.
Just going to run the group there and adjust it.
Yeah, I could probably go ahead and adjust that up a little bit. Ooh, it's getting hungry out, Mark.
I hear that there's some burgers being patted out to be fried later.
Oh, burgers today. Everyone expects me to say pizza.
This
Let's
is
see.
the burger
Oh,
house.
quarter click. So this is a quarter MOA. So we need to go up about 6 inches. So that would be about 24. Should we take all of it or take 2 bites?
I think go take it all.
Take it all. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay. So that's
6 inches.
exactly a half of a turn up from where I zeroed it at home. I planned it that way.
Gotcha.
So I could, you know,
You go down, up, and then up again.
let's go ahead and grab that piece of brass so I don't forget about it. Yep, looks fine. Nice and clean.
Definitely clean.
All right. Shot number 3 of the 85 grain. And I believe I think I bought these 85 grains for my 6x45. Well, we did test the ejector, so that worked real well. the plunger. So.
Yeah.
All right. And I am letting the rifle move a little bit more than I probably should. I should probably put a little more shoulder into it. You know, the bad thing is my trigger brake wasn't entirely clean. The good thing is I didn't know when it was going to go. So.
Right.
All right, here we go. So how many shots do we have to take before we know if it's a keeper or not?
3.
I tried to be patient on that squeeze, but I started to run out of patience and increased the pull. Because it's, you know, it's
Did it surprise you again, or?
No, I think I knew when it was going to go. The brass is not hot at all. It's very cool. You know, and the chamber doesn't have anything ugly in it.
No rings or nothing?
No, it looks nice and clean. This is a real treat to shoot brand new brass. I never shoot brand new brass. I'm like the king of used brass or once fired factory stuff or pickup stuff.
Scrounged.
This is a real treat.
Scrounged and homemade.
I should have brought a comparator to see how much it's changing. I could do that at home because I've got a lot of extra pieces that I didn't load, so I can compare them. All right, well I guess we better see where that shot went because you told me I only get 3 shots to know if it's a keeper or not.
After 3.
Uh-oh. Let's see what we got here. It's funny because I was looking for the shot and it wasn't with the other 2. I forgot that I moved the scope. I over-adjusted. I adjusted it for the equivalent of 6 inches. We are now up at 12 o'clock in the outer circle of the scoring range. So I think I can come back down about half of that. So it does say quarter MOA. We are further than 100 yards.
Sure.
So I'll come back half of that adjustment roughly. Right there. And this one will be in the black, I'll bet. And the windage is pretty good on all of those shots. So even though the trigger's a little heavy, I must be braking it reasonably well. Okay, we're ready, Mark.
Go for it.
Finger mag. And it's probably a good idea to say that the stock 788 trigger is not subject to the 700 recall. It is a different trigger mechanism. These have a totally different design on the on the trigger and the sear and all that. It's a whole different ball game than a 700. Okay. That was a better executed shot. Well, it's always interesting to try to get used to a new rifle. It's you're always just a little bit tentative. That little bit more soot around the neck on that one, but you know, it's not blowing back down the case. It's sealing pretty well, I think.
Right.
Okay, let's spot it. Okay, that's, I think that's at about, you can barely see it. I think it's right on the edge of the black at like 5:30, 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and do another shot and see if that's indeed where it is. We're starting to get shade at the target, so it's difficult to, and I just looking to verify I did turn it the correct way. I know which way I turned it. So
yeah, I want to go over it.
I think that's where the shot is. So let's go ahead and shoot another one and see if that's where it lands. Well, I think if I do something with the trigger on this, I'll like it. It seems to be a pretty clean break, but it is pretty firm. I let the rifle move a lot more that time. Yeah, you can tell we're running out of sunlight.
Yeah, pretty quick. Cloud bank right there.
I think a little bit of torque on the rifle to the right that time. Whoop, I ejected that one too. I was anxious. Oh, that's a outer 9 at about 5 o'clock, right above the previous shot. So it's you know, maybe that much from that other shot. So
yeah, good.
We're looking pretty good. I think what I'd like, should I dial it up to the X or should I leave it where it is?
You should leave it and then you see what your actual group is.
So let's shoot 5 more rounds of that round because that's all I've got, and see how it goes.
Put them on the same spot.
Boy, it turned out to be a nice you know, I never realized you had that critter house up there.
Yeah, that's the coon house.
It's a coon house? I never realized that was up there.
Yeah.
I should get the other camera and take a picture of it just so I can put it into the video. Okay. So I've got 5 more of that 80 did I say 85 or 87? I've forgotten already. 85 grain bullet. So, okay. Cloud's taking our sunlight. You know, we specifically moved the shooting bench further away from the tree line to try to catch more light, and boy, the air's starting to cool down quickly too, isn't it?
Definitely.
Well, let's shoot another here and see how we're doing.
Just gotta shoot faster.
Yeah. Less talk and more shooting. It's definitely pleasant to shoot. Looking good. Let's see what we got. It's right there with the other two, a little bit to the right. I don't feel bad about that for the first time out.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think this rifle was shot a lot. There's not a lot of wear on the bolt. I mean, it's got some, but not a ton. The barrel looks good to look down it. I mean, that's not always indicative of anything, but so I figured that as long as the action was in good shape, if I had to rebarrel it, I don't know what I would chamber it in if I rebarreled it, but I think we might shoot the 6mm for a bit here. I think to shoot any tighter than that, I'll have to move to the smaller targets because that black spot is a little bit big to get a real precision hold on. Oh, I like how the brass is looking. All right, well, we're out here at the target, and this is where we started with the 50-foot slow fire pistol target. And this was the first shot. This was the second shot. I over adjusted up to here. What's out there? It's not a bear, is it?
Yeah, probably.
We didn't even bring the rifle. Probably just a squirrel. I don't see him. Oh yeah, there he is.
Coyotes yesterday.
No, what is that? A squirrel?
The groundhog.
Oh, it's a woodchuck. Okay. Should have brought the rifle. Yeah, there he is down there. Can we see him?
It's a young one.
I don't know if we can see him in the camera here or not. He's blending in real good. Just to the is he to the right side of that tree? Okay, I can barely make him out. I don't think I can see him in.
Hey, he's coming over.
He's coming?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I see some movement there. Well, at least it's not a bear. I have one viewer that really wants a bear to, present itself at the range, and I don't know how on board I am with that idea, but okay. Oh, where'd he go?
Probably better a bear than a cougar.
Indeed. So anyway, back to this. So I went up here, I over adjusted, brought it back down, and then this was the other bullets that I shot. That was the 85 grain, and then I shot 5 shots of the 100, and that was the first shot. I think that was the second, like 3, 4, 5, or something of that nature. We can look at the target camera and see, but the group is better than what it looked through the scope. It's the main mass of it here is about 1.25 inches. If we go to the extremes, it's about a 2.5 or so for this one that I messed up on. But this little dot that I'm trying to hold on at about 130 yards, that's only a 3/4 inch dot. So I was having a hard time really seeing that. So I didn't give the rifle a fair chance. But the base size of this is pretty commensurate with the size of this. So we're out here at 130, 140 yards, and that's not bad. So Mark's over here trying to find where we shot on this piece of steel.
Only got a few.
And I held like up this area. So
we got a few hits on it. That's the shiniest one.
Yeah, and then this right here is pretty shiny. Did I just nick the edge there?
It actually goes through.
Does it?
Goes in.
Oh yeah, I bet that's the one that we got right there.
Looks the cleanest
Yep.
coming out.
Yep, I think so too. We didn't. This target's kind of sacrificial. Mark buys these cheap, and we just blast away. But yeah, that. And I was trying to hold about right here, so it would make sense because that's the low and right that the other, shots impacted. So I'll bet that's the one.
Yeah, it came out the bag. So
yeah, so we get a big, where's that one?
this one.
Oh yeah, it's got quite a bit of stuff pushing through there. Wow. Okay.
5/16.
Yeah.
Mild steel.
Mild steel. All right. Well, so I'm not at all unhappy with that performance for the rifle for the first time out. I think especially this one down here. I think this is me. This isn't the rifle. I think that I just need to get a target up there that I can see and learn that trigger a little bit better. But I would say that the bore on the rifle is just fine. We just looks like I can bring it over and up just a little bit for both. This does look, if my hold was decent, the 85 is flying a little bit higher than the 100. Now, granted, the light did change significantly, and so both of them do need to come back to the left a little bit. But I couldn't get a real accurate hold on this because it's too big, and I couldn't get an accurate hold on this because it's too small. So I chose poorly. But
How much room do you have on the powder charge?
oh, a lot. That's a starting load.
That's a starting load, so it's pretty mild. I don't remember if it was right down at the bottom, but it's you know, it wasn't anywhere near the top. So
Bring it up and probably
oh
bring
yeah,
the impact point up.
yep, probably could. All right, well, that'll wrap it up for the 6mm 788, and thanks for watching.